Good morning, everybody. It is. We don't have control of the volume of today. It is the
That was
fourth
loud.
day of the month, Wednesday, December 22nd, and it is one of my favorite shows of the year. Hi, I'm Jenny-Jaymes Gunn, in case y'all don't know. But this is the Coffee Pan Dulce Show. And hey, Christian, how are you doing?
Now I'm not muted.
Yeah, now you're not muted.
All right.
That's a big
Yeah,
one.
I had to. That was really loud.
It was super, super loud. Your grasp of technology is amazing, as always.
It's improved a little bit over the last 3 years. A little bit. Yeah, just a tiny bit. Good morning, Jenny. How are you? I haven't seen you in such a long time.
It's been forever. And we're actually broadcasting live for the last 2 or 3 months. The show has accommodated me in my new schedule, and so typically we've been typing usually Tuesday night, the night before, and then just broadcasting it live rather than producing it live. But this event today, first of all, we're doing the Festivus Show, which is one of my favorites.
We're all fresh, like awakened.
But we're also we have a small tamale factory going on.
That's right.
I am actually sitting one room over, and so we are going to be celebrating Festivus and whatever holidays everybody else celebrates. Yes. Mm-hmm. But we are live today, so this is fourth Wednesday, and I guess we can get started.
Yeah. Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Coffee Pan Dulce. As Jenny said, I'm Christian Cano, one of your co-hosts, along with Jenny and Barb Bacon, who we think is going to be joining us. She's probably got her sidewalk blown up or something, or internet. Something's tragic happening in South Charlotte. Mama Ruth and also Stephen DeFiore. Today is December 22nd. We are actually live. It's been a while since we've been live like this, so it's great to be back in this little routine. Today's show is our annual Festivus show. Festivus 2021, as Jenny said, her favorite show. I'm sure she's brought her list of grievances. So we'll be talking about Festivus and all kinds of wonderful stuff. And also just a little programming note, directly after this show, immediately after the show, about 10 minutes after, we'll be doing another Two Queers in the Truck show. And I think today we'll be talking about Aaron Rodgers, the quarterback for the Green Bay Packers, right? The anti-vaxxer. Yeah, so we'll be talking about I believe. Anyway, so that's what we'll be talking about. So with that said, let's go around the little Brady Bunch screen today and introduce yourself. And Jenny, as usual, when it's just you and I and Holiday Bernie, go a little slow so I can share us, because we are live, so I have to share us on social media. So if you're ready.
Good. I'm ready. I've got my Christmas outfit on. I even have the Silver Bells looking outfit as well. So I am all Christmassy. But good morning, everybody. Again, I'm Jenny-Jaymes Gunn. I'm a community advocate for the LGBT community. I'm definitely, if I was wearing buttons, which I don't because they damage my clothes, I would be definitely Moms Demand Action, healthcare for all, healthcare justice. Obviously, we do need a higher minimum wage more than ever. I think equity for all is a good movement. We need to take care of the most disadvantaged people in our country, and it's way past time. Poverty is on purpose. Poverty is by design. No high wealth country like this should ever have poverty of any kind. And so it's very unfortunate. I do many things. I help out with Charlotte Pride, the LGBT Democrats, and many other worthy organizations in the greater Charlotte area and other parts of the country. Bernie, of course, is just being Holiday Bernie and hanging out and enjoying the candles and the ambiance. But yes, I am excited about the Festivus.
For the rest of us.
That's right. Right.
Before we get into our Festivus show, and we'll describe what Festivus is and all that wonderful stuff about Festivus, let's talk about our current events. We have 3 current events we're going to be talking about today, or briefly. The first one is in Louisiana. There was a judge. I don't know district court judge or county judge, or she's a judge. And apparently she was caught on, or somehow someone in her family taped, or I don't know how that, maybe you know more about that, Jenny, taped her saying some really racist and vulgar things. And she has taken a temporary leave. She has kids on the LSU track team, and one of them has been taken off the team, and the other two kids, I guess she's got like 3 kids, and the other 2 are still running track. I don't know how that works. Anyway, so that's one thing. And the second one is Lady Manchin. Senator Joe Manchin has been in the news. Don't even have to explain, but he's been in the news lately. Yes. And then the third one is, which we've seen a lot of this in 2022. There was a state senator in the state of Washington, a Republican state senator, one of the biggest anti-vaxxers and anti-maskers, and proposing legislation to ban mandatory tests and, you know, all the stuff that we've been hearing about all year long. Apparently took a trip to El Salvador. No one knows why, but took a trip to El Salvador, caught COVID, was medevac to Florida to recover, because, you know, they got this recovery. They go to these spas and recover. And they couldn't find him for a while. So the news was asking his family, how's he doing? Where is he? And they were saying, well, you know, he's in whatever. And his own party was looking for him because they needed him to vote. Well, it turns out the hospital has said that he died. They just didn't want to tell people. So I didn't mean to laugh, but anyway, so on those 3 things, Jenny, I'm sure you have something to say about those, or do you want to say anything?
Oh, I've got plenty to say. First of all, on Lady Manchin, what an absolute failure of a human being. Maserati Manchin is the worst part of the political party that I belong to. But I also have to call out the other 50 Republicans that also hate poor people, hate Americans, hate infrastructure, hate democracy. You guys also are clearly the problem, because we passed a lot of bills last year when your cult leader was president, and Democrats went along with it, and because of the good of the people. But yet it's funny how y'all vote against stuff when your cult leader got fired. And it is clear that the 50 Republicans are also a huge part of the problem. And many of y'all are going to get flushed in 2022, which is really good. Or you catch COVID. Either way, I'm good with both. The Washington State Senator, it's really curious why a Washington State Senator is going to El Salvador.
Maybe
but anyway, and then they slink off to Florida to get here and pass away anyway. Oh well. Next, and then the third one, yes, that trashy Louisiana judge absolutely should not be a judge, because here's the thing: they were very comfortable using the N-word in the video they recorded, and they were laughing about this guy, and it was brutal. It's atrocious. I've seen it.
Have you seen it? Okay, yeah.
Oh, it's absolutely awful.
Okay.
And this is the thing: you're sitting on a bench, and you behave that way in your privacy. You're also passing judgment on people of color, and there is no telling what this judge has done to people of color.
Oh, exactly.
So this is extremely dangerous. This person should never be a judge again, ever. There's the suspension needs to go right into a permanent, without pay firing, a disbarment, and they don't need to be in the law business. You know, they just don't need to have any control over anybody's life with a weaponized.
So hey Jen, I'm going to ask you this question, but before I ask you the question, because you know I have to play devil's advocate, and I know you hate when I do it because you're like, but here's before we do that, let's look to our neighbors, Coffee Pan Dulce. So whatever you're drinking this morning, I don't know if you weren't drinking coffee this morning. You're drinking like water or something healthy, or what are you drinking? Soda pop or?
No, a super healthy.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Excellent.
Full of vitamins.
Yeah, and then we also want to we want to thank our producer, sponsor, and supplier, Manolo's Bakery here in Charlotte, North Carolina. These are conchas. I know why she's chuckling, and it's an inside joke between us. Manolo's Bakery in Central Avenue. Please visit your Black and brown small businesses during this global pandemic and during the holidays. Also, your tamale orders, only 3 days before Christmas, probably too late. They may have some extra tamales, but yeah, as Jenny said, we are actually making tamales today. We're having a like a tamale day. It's like our version of a spa day. Is that what it would be called? So we got a lot planned.
I guess so. It involves food, which is one of my favorite subjects.
Exactly.
I'm super excited. I've never made tamales in my life, so this should be very similar to the old school show of I Love Lucy and the Candy Factory. Hopefully we make it out alive. I may have to do an update later on. You know, I mean, I can only speak for myself, but my partner in crime here, you know, it should be a hot mess. We may have to video it, especially if something explodes or melts down.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be fun nonetheless. So we
you know,
technology.
So you know, we were talking about making tamales, and you and I had talked about it. And we have this planned, and we have some other things we're going to be doing today planned together. And I kept thinking, how hard can it be? Remember, I kept saying, how hard can it be? How hard can it? Well, we're going to find out, and we'll realize, I think we can do it. They may come out brown tamale. I don't know, something we'll figure out. Who knows? Yeah,
as long as they're edible.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't care what they look like. You know, if they come out super hideous, I won't take pictures of them or try to defend them. Just realize that there's certain foods that I just haven't ever cooked before. But the big thing is edible. Like, I don't want to be like
edible. That's right.
That's a big one.
Exactly.
That's a big.
Hey Jen, you didn't, or did you? And I apologize because I was sharing this on social media. Did you talk about your buttons, your imaginary buttons, or did you?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so because I saw mine. My imaginary button, or my buttons, are healthcare for all, Medicare for all, bonds of inaction, gun sense legislation, and in my heart, Black Lives Matter. From Joe Olden, who was a guest of ours for a while before he passed away. So with that said, I just want to go back to the 3 topics. Are you finished? So I can.
I'm good. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Republican.
So Manchin. All right. All I have to say is, as a progressive, we told you. They lied. They said, if you pass the infrastructure bill, we'll get behind you on this. You should never trust a moderate or conservative. You got to start playing hardball. And you know what? So anyway, Manchin, I don't know. Anyway, the Washington State Senator, we've seen so many. We almost should dedicate our last show of the year, because it's called Adios 2021, on just every QAnon anti-vaxxer, anti-masker that died, which was almost all, like 80% of the people who died in 2021 were those kind of individuals. Anyway, I'm not surprised. And then the judge, that was crazy. That was, I'm curious who leaked the video. How did the video get leaked? Do you know? Because it was her family had taped it, right?
Yeah. Oh no, it was
okay.
People in the deal, but I think they they put it up on TikTok
just to be funny.
Well, I think they don't think that there's anything wrong with being racist.
And
so
okay,
because the dude was trying to break in, so the person of color, the man of color,
sure,
trying to break into the house,
or a car. Yeah.
It was either a car or a house, but
okay.
they were out in the front yard, and so they were getting the crap beat out of them, and
they're laughing, recording,
and they're laughing,
the window,
using the N-word, and going, well, they need to steal his wallet, and just it was insanely, it was very, very. I mean,
so let me get this straight. So they were in the house, in the judge's house. It was the judge and her family, judge and her kid, her family. They're looking, because I saw kind of the video on TV, but not the video. They're looking through the blinds, they're recording it, and the police officers are like tackling the person and so forth, and they're making all these these just they're saying all this stuff that they're saying. So apparently whoever recorded it, or one of them, posted it on their TikTok thinking it's funny. Haha, look what happened. This is so apparently one of their friends realized this is a judge saying that. And that's how it got blown up. So they thought they were being funny, and it came back to bite them because they were the only ones who actually had the video.
Well,
until they wanted to show off.
The most important point was how comfortable they were. Like,
oh yes, exactly.
This wasn't like they weren't saying it. Well, I mean, I guess the N word, anytime that you say it, you got to be comfortable with it.
Sure.
And it's just like any words. Like if you don't commonly use a racial slur, you're probably not going to say it. And so they were, you know that they feel this way in their heart of hearts because it was a very authentic moment. So they're racist to the core. I mean, these people that were recorded, the judge and the family were very, very comfortable being complicit in their racism. They were very comfortable being anti-Black. It's so, you know, it's just like anything else. If you're comfortable in your own skin saying it, it's easy to say.
Yeah, well, no, and I agree with you because that does raise concern. How does this judge look at and distribute justice, so to speak, to people that this person thinks is inferior? Yeah, exactly.
Right. You're a racist.
But this is the famous white supremacist racist line. Well, you can. That's not in my heart. Remember we heard.
Well, but clearly it is, because if you're very comfortable saying racist things, you're a racist. It's just like if you work professionally in a restaurant and you went to chef school and you do chef duties, you're a chef. And so when you're a racist bigot and you're very comfortable saying it, you're very comfortable saying this amongst your family, and you're very comfortable putting this on TikTok because you think racism is funny, then you are a racist.
This was an interesting part. What I heard is that the judge said that she was under, she had taken some sedatives. So she doesn't remember what happened, as if though that's the impression. The problem is she said she took the sedatives after this event because she was so
so the sedatives have like what, a time machine or something? I mean it was just, that sounds like a
that's what happened was
I was going, it was like, that's another reason to fire this judge. Like any judge that cannot create a better alibi than that, should not be a judge. Like, you're too stupid, judge. I mean, honestly. I mean, and it racist stupid too. So here we go.
Yeah, not to make light of it, but it was
time to say audio for that judge.
Yeah, that's right. So as we mentioned, after the show, we'll do our own episode of Two Queers in a Truck, which we'll talk a little bit more freely. It'll be a short one, about a half hour. And we do want to talk about Karen Rodgers, because as you mentioned,
do it on Karen.
I actually hate Aaron Rodgers now. I never thought I would dislike Aaron Rodgers, but I actually really dislike Aaron Rodgers. But that's not.
We'll save it for the show.
That's right. Okay. All right. So let's get into the Festivus show. So this is the official date for Festivus is actually tomorrow, the 23rd. So we're celebrating a day early. And let me just explain what Festivus is. Festivus is a secular holiday celebrated on December 23rd as an alternative to the pressures and commercialism of the Christmas season. It was originally created by Daniel O'Keefe. He was a writer, a TV writer, and his son actually was a writer for the Seinfeld show. So the son brought it back for an episode of the Seinfeld show, but his dad actually made up Festivus. He was a writer. It was a 1997 episode called The Strike, and that's how Festivus started. So during Festivus, which if you've ever seen the show, it's one of their infamous shows, there's things that you talk about. So during Festivus, there is a, let me see if I can get this correctly. There is things, there's a Festivus Poll, which is an aluminum pole. I'm not sure why or how, but there's a Festivus Poll. There is a Festivus dinner that you're supposed to have. There's the feats of strength. So you challenge someone to, I guess, arm wrestling or something, or wrestling, or feats of strength. And then there's a miracle that happens. But the most important part, and the part that we love, are airing of grievances, where you can, all the grievances that you've saved up your whole year, I guess, I don't know how that works, is you get to air them. So that's the part that we like the most, right, Jenny? I mean,
well, I mean, it's kind of the central theme of all of our shows is the airing of grievances. But yeah, I mean, we kind of have a Festivus poll because we have these light polls, and in fact, Christian gifted me a light pole now. We also have, we're preparing the Festivus meal. It's going to be tamales, which goes with the theme of the show. The miracle is the fact that we've been allowed to broadcast for 3 years without the FCC shutting us down. I mean, or people's good taste, they still keep
that's right.
And we do thank you for doing that. But most importantly, the airing of grievances, which is always starts with, I've got a lot of problems with you people, and now you're going to hear about it, which was said by Frank Costanza in the airing of the grievances, which I do have a whole lot of grievances, not only with my showmates, but also, you're muted. You're still muted.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
And that's one of my grievances right there.
So before we do that, let's introduce, Jen, before you say that, let's introduce two of our co-hosts that are joining us live. We haven't seen them in a while live like this. Barb Bacon, Barb, is everything okay at your house?
Everything's fine. Everything's
any yard
fine.
issues? Any yard issues? Any internet issues?
Internet's fine, but I had a real good morning at Walmart.
Yeah. Oh my goodness gracious. Well,
That's
thank
another
you, Barb.
story for another day.
Yes, Barbara, since we're kind of in the middle of it, but introduce yourself and any imaginary buttons. And it looks like we've got Mama Ruth trying to join us. So we'll see if she can get a, we'll see. And maybe we'll get Stephen. So Barb, introduce yourself and any imaginary buttons you have.
Yes, I'm Barb Bacon. I'm an advocate here in South Charlotte. My buttons would be healthcare for all, stop gun violence, and can't think of anything else right now. I'm calming down after my shopping excursion this morning. I thought it was going to be 15 minutes and it was an hour and a half.
The Walmart by where you live on the, okay.
Yeah.
We may have to go there. Jenny and I may have to go there if we run out of, we're making tamales today. If we run out of corn husks, I already scouted where's the closest place to run to get some. And so we'll find out if that happens.
Okay.
So Mama Ruth looks like she's having a hard time joining us. So until she joins us, Jenny, why don't you continue? Give us your list of grievances for our Festivus show. And then Barbara, if you have a list of grievances, all right. Go ahead, Jenny.
So I'm gonna restate the line.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. Go
Barbara.
ahead.
So the grievance line always starts, and it started from the Seinfeld TV show. I got a lot of problems with you people, and now you're going to hear about it. Frank Costanza, which was George Costanza's TV dad on the Seinfeld show, and then he listed out grievances. So I'm going to start with the general public. First of all, I do find some humor in them actually proving Darwin right. And, I don't know what else to say, but keep on going. You're going to help us take Florida and Georgia and Texas, the governorships, and we'll start ending some of this voter fraud that you guys want to keep putting on the people of the states.
Perpetuating,
y'all keep on going. Just thin your own herd. I think a reverse deal, like those vaccines, they do have microchips in them. You got to worry about that.
Hey, we got through that. Remember?
I think they also turn you gay. I'm pretty sure the vaccines turn you gay. So you definitely don't want no vaccines.
Okay.
My other grievances
are. Well, then I'm super gay.
I've had 3 shots.
Because I got a booster.
Oh my gosh. And most of all, idiot athletes
Yeah.
Idiot celebrities should never talk about science. I mean, please God, if you have a TikTok like the guy on the airplane that used a face covering, he actually used a thong panty on his face. I posted it on my Facebook and on my Instagram, but actually a thong panty. But he also seemed very comfortable with panties. And I'm pretty sure he has a collection somewhere. Probably sings the song. I feel pretty. I feel pretty. I feel gay. And now on to my showmates. Eventually, we're going to all pull our money together and get Christian some technology classes, including on how to use Pandora and how not to use Pandora.
That's true.
We're going to eventually get Ruth on time. We're going to buy her a watch. It's going to set an hour earlier than everybody else. Steve, I'm sure, is in a bunker somewhere wearing a tinfoil hat, so I won't address him. And then Barb, we're going to have to figure out how to keep you from disasters on Wednesday mornings and Tuesday nights. We're going to have to do some kind of voodoo. I'm going to have to go to New Orleans and buy a special voodoo doll to protect you. But girlfriend, you must have done something really mean when you were young or something like that. I mean, I'm just kidding. Barb's actually a wonderful lady. She's usually helping somebody out.
Exactly.
That's my problem.
Yeah. You're probably usually in the neck deep helping somebody out. But yes, I love you all. I love our viewers. I appreciate even the conservative conspiracy theorists. And I think a lot of times we lose track of humanity. We lose track of what's important. We lose track of my biggest grievance is that if we're going to be neighbors, if we're going to be in the same society, if we're going to coexist together, the whole point is to try to quit working so hard with so much given to us, so much resources that this country has. Why we have a very specific group of people that work so hard to deny our neighbors in need. And in all seriousness, we've got to end that mentality. We got to quit enabling it. I think many of us in our country, we look the other way. We have to stop looking the other way. There is no need for unneeded suffering. And we as a people will come unraveled if we keep allowing it. And there's my biggest grievance, is looking the other way. That's how true evil happens. That's how it happened in Nazi Germany. It's how indigenous people got rounded up and murdered. It's the one that created slavery. It's the one that created segregation. We've got to stop looking the other way, and we've got to call things that are wrong. And when people lie, and they're verified lying, we've got to hold our ground and just say, look, that's unfortunate, and it's got to stop.
Yep, I agree. Well, how do we follow that one? Barb, you have any grievances you want to go, or
I'd say my biggest concern for all of us is, I thought maybe with the holiday season in right now that people would lighten up a little bit. If anything, to me, it's gotten worse. This lady in the store this morning hit me with her cart like 3 times, and finally I said, "Excuse me," and I don't do that anymore. But you know what? It's just like what's happened in my neighborhood. My neighbors, we all loved each other and took care of each other, and now we hardly speak to each other. Some of it's. And I agree with Jenny. At some point, it's got to stop. And you see little glimmers of things happening, like Chris Wallace finally left Fox. He's going to CNN, but then CNN fires Como, and it's like, Como, you don't understand Italians. They defend their family first. Nobody comes before family. Get out of their way. And I drive back and forth to Winston-Salem, and the discourtesy by drivers, if you aren't on your tens, I almost bashed 3 times yesterday, and I just said, okay, I'm going in the slow lane before I start road rage myself. And normally I can keep up with people, but when I'm going 80 and I got people trying to fit into a slot that only a cigarette box would fit into because I want to get in and get in, like, what? You know, I just had to chill out and move over because it's just, it consumes you to what end? And I don't know what to do about it. I just try to be pleasant and polite whenever I can. And I don't know. It just, it flabbergasts me. But on a positive note, I was over where the Total Wine is and CVS, and I was coming out of the Total Wine, and this guy walks up to me, goes, Barb Bacon, and I'm like, who wants to know? You know, and he goes, you're Barb Bacon. I said, yeah, I know that. And he says, I see you on Wednesday morning. So actually I see you later. And oh, okay. I said, well, what's your name? He goes, I prefer to remain anonymous. He goes, but your show is, that show is so funny. And he said, because you guys are just totally natural and there's no BS. And I'm like, okay. And then all these people are looking at me and I'm like, hi, have a good day.
I do agree. There is no way you can fake this level of kookiness. And I can just tell you, I mean, for people that regularly watch this show, one, they're probably a little bit of a masochist myself, which I can totally appreciate. but especially if you're conservative, the conservatives that watch our show are the ones that really blow me away because we have a lot of them. We have a very broad audience because I have the same,
especially the ones that watch us late.
That I do think are probably closeted progressives, and they just can't own it, you know, for whatever reason. And they probably agree with us, but in their silos, in their places where they hang out, it's hard for them to sound progressive, you know, because, you know, and I reference like Paul Kirby, for example, that is not only a frequent guest of our show and a Republican, most issues, he's fairly progressive on most issues. And to be a Republican is pretty amazing. So it does happen. I think we do have more conservatives that are actually not really conservatives. But anyway, I digress.
Well, so my list of grievances are long, but y'all pretty much covered almost all of them. You know, I find myself having less grievances 2021 than I did in 2020. Had a lot of grievances in 2020. I feel more optimistic after 2021. I know it still feels things aren't the way it doesn't, but I like what we said when Dr. B was on the show, when we were talking about the coronavirus and about boosters and stuff. I feel more optimistic. Even it may just be a little bit more than 2020, but after 2021, I feel there is some hope. Maybe because Biden is president, or at least we have an adult as president. You know, are things the way I thought it would be? No, but it's democracy. Manchin, you know, we're going to have a Manchin. Manchin's our Ted Cruz. You know, he's the Ted Cruz of the Democratic Party. You know, just ruin stuff. But I do feel optimistic. I'm really excited about 2022. I know it's an election year, but I just feel like this chaos that we've been going through over the last, 5 years now, unfortunately, some people are going to be dying off, and that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. And
whose fault is that? Sorry.
Yes, I know.
Not ours.
I feel, Jenny and I talked about this before the show and so forth. I'm just waiting. I'm playing the wait game right now.
Me too.
And I'm waiting. There's so many more good people than there are bad people. the bad people are just really, really loud. And I do think everyone I see says, I wish, we could get back. We need to talk to each other more and so forth. So I think everyone knows that's what we need to do. It's just actually doing it. And it's almost like, you need to lose weight, but until you actually start exercising and eating right, you're not going to lose weight. But we all know we got to do it. And so
you mean Swiss cakes and Snickers bars can't help you lose weight? I got the wrong.
Banana nut bread's good for you. So
But don't you think though? I believe that it's a self-fulfilling prophecy from what I don't even know what to call them anymore, because they're not really conservatives per se. They're wackos or terrorists or whatever you want to refer to them. But these extreme people, these people that just want to keep pushing these ideas of conspiracies and that just turned into an absolute death cult. In the 3 battleground states that I think are going to be very pivotal in 2022, because they have governor races in all 3, and so much so in Florida that the current governor, Death DeSantis, only won by 1,000 votes. Yeah. But in this year alone, they've probably killed close to 100,000 Republicans. And so one could surmise that they're literally killing off their lead, and Texas the same way, and Georgia the same way. The death counts in these states have been consistently high enough to put them in the top 5 in the world.
I think we're going to be. I know we've talked about this, Jenny, privately and also on the show as well. I think we are going to be very surprised about the 2022 elections. I think it is going to surprise. We're either going to be, as a Democrat, we're either going to be trounced and I'm going to be depressed, or we're going to wake up going, wow, they were a lot more bark than we really, I really do believe that kind of, you said they're killing each other. Just this morning, there was an article about how a county in Georgia, Lincoln County, has closed 6 of their polling places, and they're just going to have 1 polling place in Georgia because of the new law they passed. So everybody in their county has to vote in one area. They're saying it's to make it easier for people to vote, and they don't have to pay for all the machines in other places. Turns out this is a very rural county. The people on the edges of the county have to drive 23 miles to go vote. They're white.
Well,
so I think it's going to hurt them more than who they think it's going to hurt them.
Well, that's a very good point. Yeah. So one of the dynamics, and the New York Times talked about this about a month ago, in Virginia, for example, that is a very purple state that has a history of flipping and flopping between the 2 parties, the 2 major parties. And one of the things is that Democrats, once they usually take control of Virginia, they usually open up and make it easier to vote. Yeah. The issue is, especially in rural areas and the dynamic of rural areas, is that it helps Republicans.
Exactly.
And so in states that have a large polarized population, where they have a few very urban areas like Virginia, North Carolina, and Texas, and then they have lots of rural areas. Those rural areas are usually dominated by white Republicans. Texas is a prime example. In Northwest Texas, there's some counties that are about 70% white, but they vote 90-95% Republican. Exactly. When they shut down these deals, is one of the theories in the Republican Party is to make it hard to vote as possible, but they apply it statewide, because they do that in Texas too. And you see a place like Amarillo, Texas, where they vote maybe 12-13% of the population. So eventually what happens is the large urban areas dominate again in statewide votes, and the Democrats win again, so they put themselves out of office.
No, Jenny, that's what we were talking about. Both parties do things that they think helps them, but it actually backfires.
Yes.
Every time Republicans try to suppress voting, it brings out more Black and brown voters, because the Democrats use it as, see, they're trying to, you need to wait in line. And every time, when I hear these things, does it concern me? Like when they say voter ID, voter ID, voter ID, it actually scares people enough to vote. And it's hard to scare Democrats because we vote because we're inspired. So when you're trying to scare us, we're like, do we really want, like, that's the reason I think people are going to come out and vote at record numbers in 20 Democrats, because we don't want more Trump elected people. I think we don't want them more than they don't want us.
Well, so here's
I don't know. I may have gone.
Point.
Yeah.
I think too, especially in the very urban areas, the big cities like Atlanta, Dallas, places like
Charlotte.
Is that specifically people of color are used to this. So when restrictions are put, the air quotes, to hurt the Black turnout in the Democratic Party, they're just going, I'm used to this.
Exactly. I'm used to waiting in line to vote.
We'll go earlier. We know all the tricks. Whereas white Republicans, won't
wait in line.
Will look at they'll wait to the day of, which is too late in most states, and then realize, oh, that's 20 miles away. Forget about it. I just won't vote.
So, there's this joke in the Hispanic community. It's kind of an older joke. It's kind of like my parents' era comedians, like George Lopez, for example, says this joke all the time. He says this joke about how Hispanic women, or Hispanic people in general, or Chicanas, whatever you want to call it, because he's from California, they will wait in any line. They don't even know what the line is. They're like, what's this line for? Get in line, get in line. What's this line for? So that's just, the joke in our community is certain generations, they'll just wait in line because it must be important if there's a line. Whereas what I've noticed, white people, if there's a line, I'll come back.
True story.
Well, let's throw another thing that's happening or percolating or whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
If they mess with the abortion laws,
I
think there's going to be, I can't say the words, but it's not going to do them any good at all. And
hey, Barbara, that's a good point. And I know this is not to be political, but this is for listening grievances. Do you think that there is this secret, this quiet hope that, I don't even know how to word this right, and Jenny, maybe you can help me with this. There's this quiet hope from certain groups that hope the Supreme Court does interfere because it will just outrage women and they will come out to vote like crazy. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
It's an unspoken thought within some political organizations. Because I know people that just come right out and say it. And I'm like, don't say that too loud. We don't want to let them know, and they're like,
exactly.
What?
But that's at the expense of women.
Why would women,
you know what I mean?
I don't care how old you are, want to take another step backwards when this has been in effect for 50 years and they can do all their dances about principles of law and all that. If they mess with it, even putting, when is the vote for Mississippi? The ruling for Mississippi? I thought it was going to be
should happen in June, I think. No, I think they're going to come down in June. But Jenny, you said like you kind of had a thought on that. So,
I think,
and Jenny's on the board of the Charlotte National Organization of Women. So I don't know, Jenny, is that something y'all?
I mean,
don't give me secrets.
The reality is that the other side, the regressive conservative side, has been aiming for this for a long time, and I think they believe that the national temperature was right to go ahead and strike and go ahead and attack the Texas SB 8 or whatever that they passed. I do believe it'll backfire on them, and not just in voting. I think women in general, and I'm talking about cis white women, women of color, and gender diverse women such as myself. We've seen it. I think cis white women of privilege especially know that their abortion rights will always be intact because they can go to a private doctor. So they're not going to lose their rights because they always had them. They
Right.
had them before
Okay.
Roe versus
They
Wade.
had an option.
Let's like, if you have means
Mhm.
and you're white, you have
Mhm.
more access to certain kinds of medical care.
Yeah.
Because we can look at Black maternal mortality rates and compare it to white maternal mortality rates, and
Sure.
they're tremendously different.
Mhm.
So there is two different types of medical
Mhm.
care when it
Sure.
comes to pregnancy, access to certain things in this country.
Mhm.
And therein lies the real debate. And this is,
Sure.
I think abortion is
Mhm.
being used as a distraction
Sure.
from the conservatives to not address the real issues of healthcare justice and healthcare
Yep.
realities.
Mhm.
And our real debate needs to be not only access, but access to good care.
So do you
And
think, hey, Jen, question, this is for you and Barb, we only got about 13 minutes left, but a question, and this is a great, actually, this could have been our show. Instead of Festivus was a good show anyway, but, and we're still talking about Festivus, but do you think what we said about our grievances, that things don't seem, how we're going to come together, do you think in a weird way, in 2022, the abortion issue could actually, in a weird way, unite people? Because
A real big
cis white
positive.
women,
Yeah.
LGBT people will align with gay women because they know what it's like when you get a right taken away. Black and brown women, they know what it's like when you get your right taken away. People who have been marginalized. This is one of those weird issues that could actually unite so many people in a weird way.
I think so.
I mean, what do you think? Yep.
I think all civil rights movements are intersectional.
Sure.
So I think when you're talking about women's or cis women's rights to family planning, things of that nature, the argument's not that much different than what a trans woman would want as far as access to being able to transition. A lot of the medications are very similar to medications that cis women take. So many of these arguments of access that states have tried to deny trans kids, including North Carolina, access to health care and access to transitional care to safely transition versus doing it off books and bootleg is a similar argument. It has similar parallels, and many times when you're seeing a pushback from the conservatives trying to hold people down, it is typically coming from a space of, if we win this, we can keep going. We can keep on marching on, kind of like in a war. If we win this battle, we can push on to the Capitol. And so we've, not to bring up the Capitol, probably a touchy subject for Republicans right now. But the reality is that they make these stands, they make these attacks on specific rights. One, to create a wedge issue, just like gay marriage. I think marriage equality was just a wedge issue that honestly didn't give LGBT people that much more rights. But it was something that a lot of conservatives fought just to fight it, just to wear us down. Not really address the real issues. And abortion isn't the real issue here. The issue is healthcare justice. Abortion is a great place to stand, because even if they lose it, they already know they're going to lose it. And it delays actually doing proper healthcare justice just a little bit longer. It really addressing the real infrastructure issues that we have in our country based on racism and other things.
It just feels like we talked about before the show, that like these Moms for Freedom fake political group that have been, they're like Tea Party women, former Tea Party women that are showing up at all the school boards that are outraged, and they're saying, we're fighting for students and parents' rights. That is actually the game, that's the strategy for them to win in 2022, is to make, they want to take over. It's always been, education has always been like the Democratic talking point. They want to take over education, parent rights. This abortion issue may mute that, because those same women will be
How are they gonna
drowned
do it?
out. Yes. And so I think in a way, some of the conservative, like the religious conservative, anti-abortion
They'll never
or
change
anti-choice.
their mind. They'll
Yeah,
never.
yeah. I think they're a little afraid that this Supreme Court ruling could drown out the message that they need to win in 2022, because it will be such a tsunami of coalitions coming together and saying, you know what, this is bigger than this fake issue. Anyway, so in a way, I kind of think that 2022 may be a lot different than any of us
It's gonna
think.
be interesting.
And yeah, it'll be a very interesting,
I
can't be worse than
think-
2020.
I think because conservatives really had a knee-jerk reaction in 2021, and I think
Yep.
they shot their shot a scooch too early. And here's what I think: they took a shot at taking out Governor Newsom in
Sure.
2021.
Yeah.
And of course, they
Mhm.
obliterated them,
Yeah.
in California. He won by a higher margin than the
Sure.
general election before.
Yeah.
Before that, he actually went up to 63% of the vote
Yeah. Mhm.
and just blew the 80 candidates or how many candidates they
And
did.
then they tried,
And
and then
it
they did in Virginia.
backfired. It backfired in a very embarrassing way for the Republicans. And I truly believe that by the time we get to the general election 2022, I truly believe in this, especially in these states where they've lost so much. And we're seeing it now in the supply chain. We're seeing it in labor markets. The people that have died, typically work somewhere.
Yeah. Well, and I think, yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you, Jenny. And Virginia really was not that much of a victory for them, because they say it was a victory, but really what Virginia showed them is the only way to run is to stay away from Trump.
Yeah.
And so what Virginia really showed them, and they won't say it, but they're saying it kind of under the table. The really way to win, the only way to win, is to don't even let Trump get around you. And so that's really what Virginia showed. But just say it quickly, because we only got 7 minutes left.
I think what's really going to be an issue, and especially when you see these variants like Omicron, for example, take a foothold, and unfortunately, many of these anti-vax states with these anti-vax governors, when they flame out in January, February, March during primary season,
Yep.
no matter who you are, Republican, Democrat, Independent, whatever, and they melt down in an era where we have vaccines and boosters and the tools to fight it.
Yep.
And the public figures out that even these antiviral drugs to fight COVID don't even work against Omicron anymore.
Exactly. Yeah.
There is going to be a backlash and accountability in 2022.
I agree. There'll be people saying, Aaron Rodgers, I thought you told me I could catch.
And we saw this happen in 1992.
Yeah. Okay.
We saw a very popular Republican president in George Herbert Walker Bush.
Yep.
That one Desert Storm had her ticker tape parades in 1990. And then the economy tanked in late 1991.
It was the economy. Yep.
And so many other things, started coming to light that he'd not addressed for 12 years as basically the real president. And I think what's going to happen is that 2022 is going to be that year of reckoning, just like from 1918 to 1920, when we dealt with the Spanish flu. And finally in 1920, our country started to really, really deal with it and be reckoning. Yeah. This will be the beginning of the third year of COVID. And I believe in my heart of hearts, people are going to say, we got to take a stand against COVID. This is where
I agree. Yeah.
And I think there's going to be a great silencing of the stupid people. And they're going to look and go, our country can't take any more of this.
Yep.
We are going to see a very big backlash, just like we saw in 1992, like we saw in the 1920s. And I think people are going to go, enough is enough
Yeah.
for the clown show, and
Well,
they're gonna vote out the anti-vaxxers.
Well, I completely agree with you, Jenny and Barb. I don't know if you want to add anything. I got to keep us on schedule here. We only got 4 minutes left.
I hope that the Department of Justice or whomever can put the hammer down and say, okay, this is what happened. You're going to jail.
Yeah.
I know they're trying to get an ironclad case, but a lot of people get convicted on circumstantial evidence. And
Oh, yeah.
to me, there isn't anything circumstantial about any of this. And what the hell are you waiting for?
Yeah. I assume you're talking about the
Oh.
person that we're not going to mention his name anymore.
We don't mention his name on the show anymore.
Okay. I was like, I think she's talking about. So.
Okay, we'll give them first year to try to get things sorted out. I will say that I feel terribly sorry for the Biden administration because they thought, I mean, he's been there before as vice president. I think it was a million times worse than what they thought.
Than they thought. I agree.
And as these problems continue to roll out, you can't keep saying it's Biden's fault. It's Biden's fault. I'm so tired of hearing that.
I agree. But remember last year, y'all? Yeah, remember last year, y'all, when we were talking about. Yeah, I don't think you guys remember. Now maybe we can go back.
4 out of 5 voters are sick of the Trump thing.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And I remember last year, 2020, we were talking about 2021, and I remember one of us, I don't know who it was, saying that I think they're going to find out that Trump, it was a lot worse. Trump's hiding so much. He's done such. He left the house so bad.
Yeah.
Yes, and I think that Biden, just being the gentleman he is, if he could talk as freely as he wanted to, I think he would say, y'all, listen, you don't know how much crap this idiot left this country in. Yeah. And I think he's trying to be polite.
No, I don't think it has anything to do with politeness. I think the way Biden ran his campaign is that with any idiot, and I do this with Christian a lot, is that you don't acknowledge every stupid thing that they say. Sometimes you just look and go, you just roll your eyes and go, yeah, I'm not stupid, and you point to that deal. I'm just kidding, Christian, but when the reality is Biden doesn't have to say it.
Yeah,
when the death toll rose up to 1.5 million, 2 million, 3 million, which it's probably going to do, Biden won't have to say anything. He'll just point to the scoreboard. You know, kind of like when you're winning the game and the other side that's getting trounced. It's like they get one like little slam dunk towards the end of the game and they go all nuts. All you have to do is just point to the scoreboard and just go,
well,
what are you celebrating for?
I completely agree.
It'd be so obvious by the end of next year who the idiots are and who the guilty parties are.
The obstructionist,
I truly believe by November of 2022, things are going to be so obvious.
Oh, so do I. Yeah,
it's so clear and crystal clear. Biden is crazy like a fox, and I believe he just keeps his head down, has a working class mentality. He's just going to keep trucking along, and they're going to keep making jokes about him being sleepy and taking naps. He kicked ass in 2021. He'll continue to kick ass in 2022, but he works a very methodical game.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, we have run out of time. This has been a great Festivus show. We definitely shared our grievances. Just want to leave with something very, very quickly. It is interesting that all over the news in the Washington Post, they did a story about our wonderful state, North Carolina, and about how Republicans in North Carolina are banding together to say enough is enough about people like Madison Cawthorn. Is that right?
Right.
And that established Republicans are so upset at that group, the Trump kind of group, that they actually said, one of them said, and actually he named his name, that if a Democrat was on the ballot against him, that Madison Cawthorn, they would rather vote for the Democrat instead. And they told the person, doesn't that mean you're voting for Nancy Pelosi also? And they said they'd rather have an adult than Madison. And so I do think there is this silent, Jenny said this 2 years ago, the people who are going to beat the Republicans are Republicans.
Yeah.
And I remember her saying that. So
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see.
All right. It will. And I do
Mm-hmm.
believe the Republicans will take care of their own. It'll take them a while.
Sure.
As they continue to wipe out their population of voters.
The ones that are left.
And that won't hurt. It's thinning the herd. But the reality is when it's all said and done,
Mhm.
that the American people,
Sure.
conservative or progressive,
Mhm.
doesn't matter the ideology,
Mhm.
we'll look back at this in 2024
Mhm.
and realize Biden was right on so many things.
Okay.
And
Yep.
there's going to be a great purge of Republican ideology
Mhm.
out of our society once and for all.
Well, we'll see. I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic. All right, so let's go around. This has been a great conversation. Please stay tuned. In just about 10 more minutes, we'll come back for about a half hour, Jenny and I, and do our two queers in the truck, and we will just let loose. And one of the topics is Aaron Rodgers. And
Good thing Art's not going to be listening.
Yes.
Although I let something fly. I just didn't, and I'm like standing there waiting for the backlash. He goes, I don't totally disagree with that. And I turn around and I said, who are you? You know, because you never say anything against the Packers, but he is so angry with him.
Oh, absolutely.
I hope other people
But we
heard.
will say
save this for the
show.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's go around the Brady Bunch screen. Jenny, and then looks like Holiday Bernie actually checked out about a half hour ago. I don't know if y'all noticed that, but he apparently has to go to the presence. And Jenny, just I need to let Barbara know. Barbara, I have a present for you. I gave one to Jenny this morning and gave her a present early, and I have one for you, and we'll drop it off at your house the next 2 days in your front yard. So I'll ring the doorbell and run. So if you have a Ring camera, it's me.
Okay.
Trying to block.
I don't have a Ring camera.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, don't tell people that. All right. So yes, you do have a Ring camera. So with that said, Jenny, tell us where you're going to be in 30 seconds or less, and we'll end the show.
Barbara, we're going to be cranking out some tamales here this afternoon, and then we're going to go to a special event this evening with some friends. And so, yes, I'm going to have a fun Festivus day. Barb?
I'm 2 more gifts, and one of them's the one I ordered for him still isn't here, so I've got to have my plan B. And then I will go through the neighborhood and drop off my cookies and bottles of wine or whatever it is. And then hopefully I'm going to go to my long-term golf buddy friends. They were the people I hung out with when I was married, and have a few glasses of wine and then come home and crash. I am not working for the rest of the year. I can't tell you how happy that makes me. I will be taking Tira to the doctor a couple of times, and my neighbor, because as everybody tries to get those doctor visits in so they don't have to start out with a deductible in January. But other than that, I'm not doing anything except cook dinner Friday night for Art. We're combining Christmas dinner together, and that'll be interesting. And that's it. I'm not doing anything else. I'm
Excellent. Well, I will be with Jenny in the tamale factory later today. We'll be making tamales, and we'll see how that works. As we said during the start of the show, it's the first time that I've actually making them by ourselves, and so and actually Jenny's first time ever. So we'll be seeing, and then we'll be enjoying the holidays and Christmas as well. So we want to thank you so much for joining us on our Festivus show. Next week is our last show of the year, our 5th show in December. We had 5 shows. It's Adios 2021. I don't know, we'll probably be talking about the same stuff, but we'll be talking about Goodbye 2021. I am so ready for 2022, but I think 2021's been a good year. Watch us next week. Stay tuned for 2 Queers in a Truck on our other Facebook page, and where we let loose. And with that note, we're going to say goodbye. Let's see if we can do technology. Alexa, play holiday music on Pandora. Let's see.
Christmas radio from Pandora.
Yay!
almost waving at the same one. Bye, y'all.